Welcome back to Factorio, playing with the SpaceX mod on extreme settings. Since last time, what I've done is, well, this is almost complete, which didn't actually take especially long. If we quickly look at the map view, I am up here where I'm going to go for this coal next, which means that I basically finished this, which we did in last episode, including the fuel. The fuel train's been a few times, and we've got plenty of fuel sitting in here. Yeah, that is basically that. Now, what I want to pay attention to is 25 UPS at the moment, worker robot speed 13. We should get this episode, and when we do, I want to see how much this changes, because I'm thinking that our increases in worker robot speed are probably getting to a point where we are not getting great value from, or particularly good value anymore. We were right at the beginning, huge value, but it's a constant amount that it improves, and so we're getting declining returns, and they get exponentially more expensive, which makes sense, of course, because otherwise it would be too overpowered. But yeah. Now, in the longer term view, what I'm thinking, oh, you can see I've done a little bit of ground fill as well from the supply. I probably need to move the supply down this way now. And because I want to do a bit of ground fill around here as well. In fact, I'm wondering, maybe I should even put it on a belt or things, or maybe we should build a new, that's iron, we should probably get rid of these irons. Yeah, I'm still sort of planning what I'm going to do here, but I mean, this is our current landfill, so radar on it, but you can see these are where the roboports are, so we've shrunk it a bit, and getting rid of this lake. I can't remember quite how big it was originally, but I think it was, I needed to fill it in to be able to, that's probably the outline of it there actually. Anyway, so this passage I probably want to bring and maybe come to the bottom, and then set up another supply outpost so that we can set up the coal. But having a look at this one, 6.9, I mean, it is going down, and it is going down quite quickly, but not so fast that I must get this coal online right now, bang or else. So I think, actually, I'm just going to have a quick peek. Yeah, they're all actually covered, so that's pretty good. And there is a little bit of extra that I can bring online here if I really needed to. I would like to know 38,000 coal, so we're not short of coal. And plastic, we've got 800 on stock, so that's pretty good. We still have 16,000 water, so that's probably a little bit excessive. But this will last us a little while, a few more episodes before we're in desperate straits. So what I'm going to do is I will build some of this infrastructure for the coal, for the 76 million coal here. But then I'm going to return to getting the rubbish unload done before I actually build out the mining here, get the rubbish unload sorted out, so that we can then come over here. If this serves this one, which it probably doesn't, repurpose this maybe as a rubbish depot, because I know I can come through iron in the way. What are we at? 127. Yeah, that's dropping quite fast. I think it was 169. So we've had two iron trains turn up and completely fill up and leave since I last looked at that. How are we doing on that other one that we were? If I just put the mouse here and then go sideways, we will see where it connects. It's basically about where the box is. So I could even just turn that sideways and we could get through. But otherwise, yeah, it's only 3k left. So I think is this, yeah, copper in the way. It's only 3k left in this one, which is the only bit that's actually in the way, and I think it's taking about 400 or so, a few hundred each time anyway, so 3k shouldn't last too long before we can actually come through here. And then I don't know exactly what we're going to find over here. Obviously there's a fair bit of nuking that is going to be required. I mean, honestly, biters at this point are really just a huge annoyance. But I'm thinking it is a long-term plan that, well, A, is this guy stopped or is he moving? He's actually stopped because there is one here, but he obviously doesn't think he can get to where he's trying to get to if he goes there. Oh yeah, he can. Why is he stopped then? Oh no, he's trying to go into this line here. I have too many trains coming into here, so part of the long-term plan is that we actually, as some of these, I'm not completing any sentences, am I? As some of these items get depleted, we will actually take a few trains off coming in here. Probably two iron, 2 copper, something like that will actually be removed from coming into here. And then as more of these items die off, get completely depleted, I will probably, for example, double up on these two, because they're significant numbers. They can handle a little bit more drain, and I'm basically looking for ones that are kind of over 50. If I had to, maybe that one. Yeah, I don't have a lot of iron that is of sufficient size. So iron I might have to do completely new outposts for, but copper, certainly we can double up here first of all. There's some decent iron. I think we just need to get slightly further away from where we started. How are we doing? Very close. And I mean, longer term, I probably should discuss this whole setup. What's good about this is you get to reuse your furnaces to do the same. So your demand between all of the various raw resources that you've got fluctuates, right? Between iron and copper and steel and so on. Exactly what you need at any point in time fluctuates depending on what the factory is producing. Unless you're only going to produce exactly one thing, there will always be differences in the fluctuation between them all. So the point of this system is that you reuse the furnaces, obviously, so that they're always working where the greatest demand is, and in that way you have a net lower number of furnaces. However, where it all falls down is that, and looking at this picture seems to be slowing our UPS, but where it all falls down is, I mean, look at how many robots we've got. Now this isn't just the furnace stack obviously, but actually at the moment it's not too bad. It's only, what, 40,000 robots. It has been up to 60,000, but that's probably because we are running out of resources in this area, and so things are not working to full capacity. For example, I notice this is 22 now, but iron, only 648 plates of iron left. Copper, 24k, and they're not too bad. Steel, I'm guessing, is still negative. Yep, it's never recovering. Production stats over the last minute. 12k, so I think these have kind of dropped off a little bit. What are we doing in terms of our consumption? Yeah, we've definitely slowed up in terms of science packs. We were running at 2,000 and we've slowed up. I'd like to know which one is letting the show down. Blue ones. Blues are letting the show down. And blues need steel, which is sort of, you know, coming back on that vicious circle. Still, this is going to pop. Even at 800 a minute, it's going to pop at the moment. Even with time running at a third speed. So that means we need more steel. So yeah, there's two things. One, my long-term plan is probably to replace all of this with this kind of scheme, because this just seems to be a little bit more UPS efficient. So we're at 26 when we're pulled out of looking at all that. Okay, that's how much watching all those robots costs us. But before we get there, what I can do in the meantime is increase the utilization of these, because if you notice, these upper two aren't, well, they're not constantly getting supplied with trains, and they're not constantly in demand either. This one gets hit the most because this one gets supplied the most, and the little intelligence here forces that to be the case, which is good, but it also means that we can actually use more trains supplying one of these than the dozen that I have at the moment. And probably the copper, a similar story or claim could be made for it. So I'm going to do that, and probably by adding a steel works here, because we're so short of steel. Let's do some processing off site, and then eventually we'll build more of these stacks so that we can replace this one, and we'll just have fully refined iron, copper, steel, stone even coming in, and even add probably green circuits as well, because we don't have enough green circuits ideally. Now would be a good time for you to pop worker robot speed, either that, or let's see where I am. I'm up here. Okay, let's try not to kill ourselves. 25. I mean, with all the speed ups of the bots and so on, it's not, and having 6 sets of legs in our armor, it's not like we're running so slow that it's impossibly painful to work at 25 UPS, but I would like to try and deal with it, and I would like to push production to a higher level than it's currently at. Let's come down a bit. There we go, worker robot speed. And how much advantage is it given us? It looks like it's gone backwards. Can't really be the case, but maybe 1 UPS possibly. How many robots do we have here? 39,000. I mean, you can barely tell that they're moving. They look like they're moving at a decent speed, even though this is so low. But yeah. Well, what I'm going to do, instead of going straight in here and resuming this science, I am actually going to wait a bit and let our resources try and get on top of things, because they're just doing slightly too much at once right now. How's this going? halfway. And if you notice, it's back to robots that it's short of after building all of those robots. So that's the other reason why I am interested in 28. Maybe we are slowly getting better. 27, 26. It all helps. How's this going? I haven't looked at power for a while. Oh, because we're not doing the science anymore, it's slowed off. Speaking of power though, that's one other thing worth discussing. What I might do is I mean, I could just whack down some more accumulators, which I might do anyway, but it doesn't look like the rate you can draw power out of these accumulators is sufficient to make up for when we have spikes over our current power usage. So what I might do is add some tanks to the bottom of all these, or the bottom of some anyway, and add some more of these guys, so that and then hook up to the accumulators, and if the accumulators drop below 100%, then I'll have a pump start pushing the steam out of the tanks into I don't know, a bunch of these things, and yeah, hopefully that will be enough to make up for like peaks of 2 or 3 gigawatts over what we can currently handle. That's kind of my thoughts there. So once again, there are a ton of things that we can work on. Let's just see if, having let research stop for a moment, we are getting at all on top of any of that science. It's still negative, which means it's just charging the science arrays. So these 3 would have come to a complete halt at this point, which is good. It's probably saving us some resource demand. We're not building military anymore because we simply don't need it. Space science, we've turned off launching satellites, so that's not going to go up at the moment either. So it's just production and Science Pack 3, which both use a lot of steel, and we know that we are very short on steel. Very negative still. Okay, so no surprises there really. Let's get back to building the train line. On this bit as well. Oh, we're out of rail. There we go. Should do for now. In fact, let's move the engineering train down, since it's got all the goodies that we need. We are short on iron, but this is only a 10mm patch. We might end up mining it anyway and just sort of mining around the rail tracks, but what I'm basically getting at is I am not especially going to worry about driving straight through it. Certainly, even at 25 UPS, we are building rail with our 4 sets of level 2, what are they called? The oh, I can't see, but the level 2 portable bot thingies in our armour are enough to ensure a fairly efficient building. Now, I actually need to go back up because I'm going to need some landfill to cover all of that, and I may go too far. Oh, no, 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 no. How did I get those? My inventory, come on, down you go. You need to, ouch, you need to be out of the way, son. There. Right. So what I'm going to do is, this is where I was doing the landfill before, which is why I put these here. I came back up so that I could, well, put a box down, fill that box up with things that I don't need just at the moment. What was that one? It doesn't really matter. I need to store these somewhat better. Oh yes, that's the other thing I need to do. I need to go back to our new iron ore distributed stop and add in some speed modules, but we can get to that. What are we doing with all of this junk in here? Anyway, that should do. Let's just grab a bunch of those. In fact, maybe what we should do is transfer them into the free space in the train so that we can carry a bit more. In fact, I probably could have cleared out everything. That will do. Let's grab that in so that we've got a bit more landfill. And I'm going to basically fill in all of this sort of area so that we can, I mean, probably ultimately just about all of this lake is likely to go, but for now, let's get this guy. Yes, that's about the size that I want him. Further than about there. Double station for the coal and the supply post so that we can deliver everything we need to the coal and then go and do the rubbish stop. So that was all of our stuff. While we're here, let's just whack down another one of those. Ooh, that's right, I unloaded all of that stuff so I don't actually have oh, I've got them. I must I've got about 3 robots left. That's a bit funny. Oh well. mind. Right. That's it. Okay. This guy can come home. You done now, dude? Good. Let's grab our stuff, maybe grab a little bit more landfill, just because we're up there, and we'll finish this off. But we have probably done enough for now, so the rest of setting up this basic part I will probably do in between shows, and next time we will set up the rubbish train. So thanks for joining me, and looking forward to seeing you in the next. Bye bye for now.